Good, happy Thursday morning, April 8th, 2021. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Thursday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Thursday morning, so let's begin. First up, let's take a look at your COVID-19 numbers for today in New Hampshire. Let's take a look at those right now. And here is a look at those COVID-19 numbers for all of you for today in New Hampshire. There are 86,935 number of people in New Hampshire have tested positive for COVID-19. There are 1,250 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. There are 96 current number of hospitalizations for COVID-19 in New Hampshire. That is a look at your COVID-19 numbers in New Hampshire. One more COVID-19 death in New Hampshire as cases and hospitalizations rise. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
What is there not to love about Franklin Pierce?
The Pierce Promise New Hampshire Scholarship Program is new at Franklin.
New Hampshire is nearing 87,000 coronavirus cases since the start of the pandemic. Overall, New Hampshire continues to see a rise in cases with 434 new infections announced today. Active cases are up to 3,300.
Hospitalizations are also on the rise with 94 people hospitalized right now. 95% of all patients diagnosed with COVID-19 have recovered.
And one more person has died, the death not associated with a long-term care facility. And tonight, the state epidemiologist says all of it shows community transmission is increasing.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire House passes state budget on 205 to 178 vote with Republicans in favor. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Summit Packaging Systems is hiring for all shifts. Summit knows stability, security, and growth are extremely valuable. You'll develop skills to succeed and earn steady income and benefits. Apply online at summitpackagingsystems.com/careers today.
It was a compromise budget within the House Republican caucus. Conservative and ultra-conservative GOP state reps united to pass a $13 billion state budget, reaching a consensus they could not attain when they last controlled the House 4 years ago.
Families across New Hampshire have had to tighten their belts over the last year during the pandemic, and state government must be able to do the same.
Democrats stood in opposition.
You have before you a budget that downshifts to our local communities and underfunds the needs of our citizens.
A number of Governor Chris Sununu's budget priorities were removed, including his proposed merger of the university and community college systems and his paid family leave plan. Governor Sununu has already derided the budget process as, quote, completely off the rails. Today, one top Republican fired back at the governor's budget director.
The Finance Committee has 21 people with a total of hundreds of years of experiences in doing budget. The governor had one new guy doing a budget.
There are several policy add-ons in this budget that could become big points of contention if the Senate decides to remove them, including a controversial ban on the teaching of so-called divisive concepts of critical race theory, and a provision that would strip funding from family planning organizations if they don't physically and financially separate abortion procedures from their other services.
This section of the budget is clearly only intended to make it impossible for reproductive health care facilities to participate in the program.
We're going to fund STDs, we're going to fund pregnancy tests, we're going to fund women's health exams. So all of that sky has fallen stuff is nonsense.
Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Woman dies after rescue from 2-alarm fire in Laconia. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Mainly Tubs is now open in Bedford. New England's largest hot spring spa dealer is now serving
Elderly woman has died after a house fire in Laconia. The 2-alarm fire broke out on the first floor of this home on the corner of Highland and Gillette Streets just after 2 this afternoon. When firefighters arrived, they found the woman unconscious in the doorway. She was rushed to a nearby hospital where she died from her injuries. Investigators are looking into what caused this fire.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Six arrested in connection with sexual assault investigation. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Mainly Tubs is now open in Bedford. New England's largest hot spring spa dealer is now serving central and southern New
Scope of a 2-year investigation into allegations of physical and sexual abuse is massive. More than 270 survivors have come forward.
These are all sexual assault charges. Currently, there are 11 survivors of this case, and there is approximately 53 charges.
Today, 6 men were arrested in connection with the alleged incidents involving former residents at the facility. 4 men are from New Hampshire, 2 from Massachusetts.
The individuals who have been arrested in New Hampshire today are being detained without bail. It's expected that they will be arraigned tomorrow in the circuit court.
The 2 men from Massachusetts are being brought to New Hampshire. That's when their bail will be set. Attorney Russ Riley represents 275 survivors who have experienced alleged abuse.
Physically abused, sexually abused, held in solitary confinement, and deprived of an education while at the Sununu Center and the Youth Development Center from 1963 to 2018.
He says more survivors are coming forward all the time.
Pretty sad that it's been allowed to go on for this long, but I can tell you that my clients are thrilled today with the announcement that there's been at least some arrests, and they're looking forward to seeing more indictments and arrests coming down the line.
The Attorney General's office is asking anyone with information about criminal conduct at the facility to contact their Attorney General's Task Force hotline at 271-4000.
Riley says he's also hoping after seeing these arrests, more survivors who may be out there may be more comfortable coming forward with their own stories. In Manchester, I'm Charisse LeClaire, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Dozens of schools push back against full-time in-person learning deadline. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Mainly Tubs is now open in Bedford. New England's largest hot spring spa dealer is now serving central.
We did send a letter to the commissioner this morning indicating the board's intention to move forward with a full return on May 3rd.
The school board made the decision. Many school leaders are wondering what happened to local control. Superintendents remember a tweet from the governor last summer about local control in this crisis.
And suddenly this came out that wasn't local control, and it took control away from our locally controlled and elected school board.
Manchester School District is among more than 20 that applied for a waiver to the order, citing vaccine concerns for staff and teachers and invoking federal requirements.
A lot of our employees who have Americans with Disabilities Act accommodations under federal guidelines that they are not allowed to come back to work until they've had their vaccination and have the full immunity.
We're concerned the numbers are as high as they have been in the past 2 months.
SAU 9 in Conway was forced to go full remote this week because of a spike in cases. The superintendent has been targeting May 3rd for in-person instruction full-time. So the question is, why now?
What we were beginning to see is a bit of a tipping point, and there were rising concerns around student, mental, and behavioral health.
And today, the Department of Education released a 60-point Q&A document to help schools navigate the implications of the governor's order and if they should apply for a waiver or not. Late today, we did reach out to the Attorney General's office about consequences if that order is ignored. We have not heard back yet. Reporting live, Amy Cavino, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. LAPD Tiger Woods car crash caused by high speed and hit tree. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
I'm here to compare the Microsoft Surface Pro 7 to the iPad Pro. Surface Pro has a built-in kickstand. iPad Pro is just a tablet. Surface is a full computer and a tablet. And now, the price.
We turn next tonight to the Tiger Woods crash. Tonight, authorities say he was going up to 87 miles per hour at the time of the crash. In fact, hitting the tree at 75 miles per hour, saying speed was the cause of the crash and that there will be no charges. Also saying there was no special treatment in this case. Here's our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, from California tonight.
Tonight, 6 weeks after that crash nearly sheared off the front of Tiger Woods' car, the LA Sheriff's Department concluding speed alone caused the wreck.
The primary causal factor for this traffic collision was driving at a speed unsafe for the road conditions and the inability to negotiate the curve of the roadway.
He was going up to 87 miles per hour, nearly twice the 45 mile per hour speed limit. And according to the investigation, the car's so-called black box shows that instead of slamming on the brakes, Woods hit the gas.
It is speculated and believed that Tiger Woods inadvertently hit the accelerator instead of the brake pedal.
This aerial image showing the collision points as his car went rocketing over a median, across a road, through brush, and then crashing into a tree at 75 miles per hour. But the car still had momentum.
The impact of the vehicle when it hit the tree caused the vehicle to go airborne and do a somewhat pirouette, landing on its side.
Police say Woods' driving was unsafe, but not reckless and not under the influence.
There were no open containers in the vehicle, and there were no narcotics or any evidence of medication in the vehicle or on his person.
Authorities say he won't even be cited for speeding because there were no witnesses to the accident. The sheriff insisting Woods got no special treatment. And tonight, Woods tweeting a statement thanking first responders who pried him out of that crumpled SUV for helping me so expertly at the scene and getting me safely to the hospital. There, Woods underwent emergency surgery. Doctors inserting a metal rod in his right tibia to stabilize the shattered bones, screws and pins also implanted into his foot and ankle. Injuries which have forced the golf great to undergo a series of additional procedures. Woods missing out on his beloved Masters tournament this week. The return to glory, which he won in spectacular fashion in his last comeback in 2019, celebrating his 5th Masters with that hug from his son.
David, you can still see the path that Tiger Woods' SUV carved through the vegetation behind me. Now, I have been speaking with senior officials at the LA Sheriff's Department, and they continue to insist that Woods received no special treatment. They say it's doubtful that anyone driving that car in that accident would have been cited, and they say that's primarily because there were no eyewitnesses here, there are no traffic cameras out here, and no police officers to document it. David?
All right, Matt Gutman, live in California. Thank you, Matt.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. See you tomorrow for another newscast. I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.